Hello everyone, and welcome back to some more FM22. And we are still in Bolivia. Oh yes, and we are at the end of the preseason, a very long preseason. Now, I want to say first here, this is gonna be all about looking at players, looking at what happened in the preseason, you know, stuff like that. And if you don't like that kind of stuff, I could potentially understand that. I think it's a big deal for me to show you all this because it's a big part of how I play FM. This whole, I mean, it's been like 6 months, right? It's 6 months since we last played a game that actually had any competition in it. Actually more than that. Was it in December or November of last season, last year? So yeah, it's I think this period of time is very, very important. But if you don't like it, just skip over it. Just skip over this episode and you can get into it. If you do like this kind of thing, looking at players, looking at the tactic, what I've changed, looking at finances, looking at what the board have done, or well, we have asked the board, all those kind of things. If you like that, well, stick around because it's gonna be one hell of an episode, I think. Honestly, this is, I wouldn't say it's a perfect, preseason, but it is very close to. It is very close to. You look at this and say, okay, there is a couple of lost games. Yeah, okay, we know how Nani is. They are in our league. They're one of the best teams. We did have a draw and also a win against them early on. So make of that what you want. We also played these guys, Mojoko, I don't know. But they are also in our league, but not in our group. They are the second best team in the league out of 35 teams. Again, we played them 2 times. We won one of them and we draw another one. So overall, it looks pretty damn decent for our own league. I also tested our tactic a little bit that I developed with playing against teams like Real Potosi from last year. We know they are pretty damn good. Also a very big attendance here. That's really cool. 1-1 result. I'm very happy about that. We were the far better team out there. We could have scored another one, to be honest. Then we had 2 games against one of the bigger teams in Bolivia. They are like 6th or 7th last season in the best league. So yeah, we are not quite there, but I also went full bottle on the press high kind of situation here against these guys. I really wanted to test it, what we can do and what we cannot do. But we won't have any of these guys in our league, I don't think. No one is this good in our league. Let's just say that. This up here is a better picture of what could happen this season. A lot of wins, a few draws, and a couple of maybe 1 or 2 losses. I expect that. So, in terms of our strength, I think we could easily go into the competition here and see where they have predicted us. I took a look at this in the mid-season or mid-preseason, and we were 9th predicted. I'm not sure where we are now because we had some transfers and stuff. So let's take a look. Season preview, we are 9th. Okay, so still the same, 51 in odds. Pretty much the same. And as we can see, Universitario, who is in our group, they are still 2 in odds. So they are so much more favorites than us to win this, right? Actually, they dropped down here, Mojakoya, but they are not in our group, so it doesn't really matter. But that's the guys I played in the preseason. And also Hyunani, we are a little bit closer to Hyunani in terms of strength, and also how I see it. So what I expect from this season, moving into this season, is probably I could see us get top 2. I could see us get a 2nd place above these guys, Hayoni. But still, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to do that. A little bit unlucky and bang, we are 3rd place. So, but I expect us to go number 2 this season. That means it's been a pretty good preseason, right? And also a pretty good transfer. We'll get into that right away. Let's get into the players. This is the current team as they look. I like to use this squad depth kind of overview. It's giving me some tools to figure out what I'm missing and what I'm not missing and what I maybe want and maybe not want. So I think we just go over the players one by one here from the goalkeeper and onwards. So we got 2 goalkeepers. We got Mercado, who is the same guy from last season. He's fairly okay. His preseason was entirely good, and I made him my captain for the preseason early on in December or January, but I stripped him off that because I don't think he's going to play as much as I hoped he would do, and also there was potentially someone a little bit better for that role. He got 18 leading, but he's not gonna be the captain. But maybe he's our second goalkeeper right now. He's okay. He's okay, but we do have another guy who is called Flores, Fabricio Flores, who was one of the intakes. He's been shown promising signs. He's been fairly good. He's also 2-footed. He's not very good in the air. He's not a very tall guy or anything, but he does have some reflex. I've seen some incredible saves by him. Is he gonna be the main guy? I don't know. I have another goalkeeper coming in actually, but he's not gonna come in before the next season. So, and he's a very, very good goalkeeper. But for now, it's gonna be one of these two. And if we compare them real quick, you can see what I mean. It doesn't really matter too much who I'm gonna play of these two. Average rating of 6, average rating of 6, average rating of 6 and 5. So they are very, very similar in terms of average ratings in attributes. What Mercado do have is the height and the aerial reach here, and that could potentially put him in front of him. But it all depends on what I'm seeing in the games. I would say right now Flores is probably a little bit ahead of Mercado. So there we go. First choice, second choice. For now. In the left back area we have 3 choices here. We have Alvarez, Rios, and Amachi. Let's check out Alvarez here first. He is an 18-year-old. I wouldn't call him an inverted wingback because he don't have a really good right foot, and I think this is our weakest area. The left wingback area is our weak spot. None of them have been playing really well, and especially Alvarez. I thought he would do a little bit better than what he have done. He hasn't been great, as you can see over here in the form curve. He's bang on average, actually a little bit below average, I would say, in his ratings. It's not great, but hopefully he's gonna turn it around and get a little bit higher numbers in average ratings. But I think the way I'm playing right now, I think the inverted wingbacks do have a tendency to have a little bit lower ratings compared to many of the other teammates because how the game is giving them the ratings, right? That doesn't mean they are entirely poor and unusable. That's it. But yeah, he's probably the best of the bunch. But that's him. Let's check out the other two. Then we got Arus, who can actually play on both spots. But as a left-sided inverted wingback, he's probably the best because he do have a really strong right foot. He's similar to the other guy, but have been a little bit more consistent in what he is doing. He's not very good. He's just not very bad either. He seems to have average games every single time, 6.75. Nothing out of the ordinary. If we compare those two, because they're probably the two guys that is gonna fight for that role, they are again pretty similar. What does one guy have over the other one? Well, I think Alvarez got a little bit better in a little bit defensive wise, a little bit better. His technique is also, the attribute that you want to see in him is probably a little bit better. Technique is very important to have, and that's probably why Rios have higher average rating, because technique, the way we are playing, is very important. But it is also very important to be able to mark your man really tight with the setup we have. But bravery here is advantage to Rios, because that will get him into situations where he's gonna tackle his man very often, and that is what we like to see. I think I have a feeling they're gonna rotate heavily, right? I think they're gonna really heavily rotating. I don't think there's any of these guys gonna be the main guy. They're probably both gonna rotate. So there we go. The third option in our inverted wingback on the left-hand side is this guy, Amachi. He is one of the intakes, and you might think, oh, he doesn't look very good. Well, here's the thing. If we are in control and up against some pretty weak opponents, he's actually quite good, because he's not bad on the ball, and he got the determination to get even better. He got the technique and stuff, so if we need him in there, he can do a job. But of course, if we're playing against some better opponents, this 5 pace and 5 acceleration is gonna let him down so many times, and us as well. So he's definitely third choice On the other side, we have 3 inverted wingbacks as well. Well, one of them we already know. Then we got a guy that I actually just got in because we lost another player, which I will tell you about. So this guy is very good, and I just got him in. I haven't even looked at him really too much. So he's definitely one of the best players in the club now, absolutely. He do have a reasonable left foot, but his overall attributes are of course pretty damn high. I think he can do everything we want him to do. If I'm looking at him and thinking where is his weak spot, well, he's not very tall, and his jumping reach and hitting is not exactly good, but he's making up for that in his other physicals, right? He's fairly quick. He's probably one of the quickest in our club. He also got the crossing, so he could ding it over to the other side of the other wing. I don't know how often he's gonna do that, but he will probably do it sometimes. Overall, he's just a brilliant player, right? He's just a really, really good player. Likely gonna be playing a lot of games for us. He's also on 350 wages, which is the highest as well in the club. But still, I think getting this guy in was that was really good, and I definitely needed him because having only Rivas, who is the next one we're looking at, as the only option on the right-hand side wouldn't really do. So, but yeah, he's probably gonna be the backup to the main guy over there. What was his name? Araniba. Cool name. So Rivers is probably gonna be backup to Araniba. We can actually just compare them here. Where is Araniba here? There he is. So yeah, let's see. Physical, definitely Araniba being the quicker one here. But still, Rivers is not bad. He can still do what he needs to do in there, for sure. Especially having that balance. It's going to help him out on the ball. Not getting tackled too often or pressured into doing something stupid. Well, that doesn't mean anything about that. But he's just not gonna, go down really easy when someone is trying to tackle him. Mentals, it seems like Rivers actually got him beaten here. Yeah, except from vision and anticipation and aggression. Yeah, Rivers is not a bad player. He's actually been quite good in the preseason, so but here comes the big one. I mean, there's night and day on the technicals over here. Of course, I think Araniba is going to be the better player for us, but that doesn't mean that Rivers is not going to play a whole lot of games. I think he is. But yeah, that's the inverted wingback roles or inverted wingback spots. We also do have Rias who can play over here, of course. So I'm a little bit concerned about the left area. This side over here, I'm pretty happy about that one. And then we have the central defenders. Let's take a look at the guys that I think we should play on the right-hand side, because they are right-footed or because I just want to play them there. The first guy, who is Jimenez, is probably the main guy in there. The problem with him is he had a really long injury, so he could be injury prone. He was probably out for 2/3 of the preseason, right? So he had like a 4-month injury. I don't even remember what it was. It was a bad one, major. He seems to having major issues with injuries. I didn't check that when I got him in. Lower back stress fracturing. Not great. So that's a big worry because we don't really have a really good backup. But I do have another player here that have done really well in the preseason. So it's not a big concern, but he's definitely the main dude down there. Now, this guy is not very good when it comes to being on the ball. His passing and first touch and all that is, it's not very great. But I think he will do fine. I think he will do absolutely fine, this guy. And the good thing is that he do have the pace, which is very hard to find here in the Bolivian league for central defenders. And also having at least decent jumping reach and heading. Very hard to find those 3 things together. Very good tackling, very good marking. I am pretty happy with him being on the right-hand side because he is right-footed. So yeah, decent little player. Now, the second option, you might think, oh, it's gonna be Arus or Soria here as the second option. No, actually not. They are like 3rd and 4th choice. Vaca is my second choice. Let's take a look at Jose Vaca. Now, they deem him, my assistant manager, deem him a 1-star current ability. I do not. I think he is pretty damn close to the other guy. Let's compare them. I don't think I've actually done that. Let's try and compare them here. So, Yeah, they're very close to each other. They are actually very, very close to each other. I would actually say that Vargas might be the best option. He might be the best option. I don't know why they consider him a 1-star current ability. No idea, because I see him as at least a 3-star compared to the other teammates he had. So Vargas is one of the intakes, and I think he's very, very good. He's been playing. Let's take a look at his. Let's go back again here, because you can see they are pretty much average, or they are both pretty much having the same abilities, except from, of course, him being really good in bravery and aggression. And what else? I wouldn't even say there is must a whole lot of different here. Yeah, he do have the agility here. Gems, not very important for defending. He do have some really good determination gems, which is great. Also decision making, which is also great when we are on the ball quite a lot. But I would say, I think Vargas is the better, well-rounded guy for us. I think Vargas is just better. So we might, and like again, going into him, look at that. His form is really, really good. He's 7.23 in average rating, 1-star current ability. Do not use the star system. It's terrible. Look how good look how good this guy has been. He's been excellent. By far my best central defender in the preseason. By far. He deserves to be in there in the first spot. Ahead of the other guy, ahead of him, because he's been injured, he hasn't played a lot. He hasn't really shown us what he can do. I mean, he has played a little bit, but he's not been better than the other guy. So that's very interesting. And I think that's the right-hand side. We do have a couple of backups here, third and fourth choices, right? But we'll take a look at them later on, because Surier is another type of player we will look at later on when we get to the defensive midfield. So, the other side, we do have this guy, Arus. He could play over here as well, because he's kind of two-footed. But let's take a look at him. He is probably the first choice on the other side, and he is another well-rounded. I would say he's pretty close to as good as Vargas. They're probably very equal in terms of how good they are. He's actually a little bit ahead of him. I think Arus here is probably a little bit ahead of Vargas and also the other guy. He hasn't had as good as preseason as Vargas, but still, he's definitely our main dude on the left-hand side. But as you can see here, pretty damn solid. His performance is, 6.91. I'm okay with that. And he can also develop quite a bit. His weakness, if he got any, would probably be that he is not the tallest guy in the world. And the other guy, neither is Vargas. So they're not the tallest lads in the world, but they could actually increase a little bit because they're still young. It could be 181 when they are a little bit older. I believe actually, I don't know when it stops developing this height. Maybe it's 17 or 18, I'm not sure. Another weakness is that he's not the quickest, but overall, his average abilities, he doesn't really have a really weak spot, right? And that is what I was looking for as central defenders. And I think the preseason has shown us that that was the right choice to do. I think overall, we have improved our central defenders. We have improved our inverted wingbacks. So over here, we have a backup in this guy who we actually got in last season, or tried to sign last season, but we didn't get him before this season. So he's a decent center. As you can see here, his form is actually not that bad. His weakness is that he's not good on the ball, right? His first touch is poor, passing is 6, technique is 3. So that is someone that we will probably see the opposition trying to pressure a little bit on the ball. Also balance of 5. So yeah, and the bravery is also only 5, but he's very good in the air. 15 jumping reach, heading of 12. And so far he's been okay so far, absolutely okay. So that's at least something. So that's the entire defense done. Like I said, we do have a couple of guys in there that can also play there. We can look at Surier. We might as well, because we are getting into the defensive midfield next. So Surier is an interesting player because he can play a lot of spots for us. Mainly, this guy's probably back up to the defensive midfielder, right? He's the main backup guy in there. He's on loan. He is he's not the best player in the world, but what he will do for us is play a whole lot of games as the second or third choice. He's the second choice defensive midfielder and third, fourth choice in both areas in our central defense, because he's not that bad at jumping reads, and his heading is forward, which is poor, but he stays back at all times, which work into that. And I'm not really happy with him in the defensive midfield because because of this stays back at all time. He won't get far enough up to actually connect well with the rest of the team, which is a little bit annoying. But I'm okay with him being in there. I'm okay. As you can see here, 7.03, pretty damn decent preseason for him as well. So there we go. That's the first defensive midfielder, but he's not the main guy because Aldo Diaz is the main guy in defensive midfielder as a defensive midfielder. He's fairly good. He had a pretty decent preseason here. If he got any weaknesses, I would probably say it's the concentration and stamina, and also balance. Because what that means is he probably needs to be not playing every single game. So we do need someone like Moria coming in and take some of the games off him. Now he is 2-footed, which is really great because he needs to be passing the ball left and right all the time, right? So that's really good, but the concentration means that he will lose concentration and lose the ball from time to time. I've seen that happen. Usually it doesn't lead to anything, but it can lead to a goal, which is not great. But other than that, pretty damn decent. He's very good defensively speaking, 14 of tackling. I've seen him do some really good tacklings, really solid tackling. Also because he's 2-footed, he can go in with both feet when he's tackling, so that's also really solid. So yeah, that's the main dude in the defensive midfield. We could have had a better player, but you know what, I'm okay with it. Montana might go out. Montano might go out. We might not have him for long. He's right now getting transferred somewhere else, likely. Which means this is probably, if we're getting anyone new in, it would potentially be the defensive midfield, because we're a little bit weak there, unless we are starting to use Salazar there instead. But we will get to him next, actually, because he's our midfielder, our general, our central midfielder support general. He is a beast, an absolute beast. He hasn't been incredibly good in the preseason, but I mean, no matter what and how you look at him, he's gonna play a lot of games for us. He's absolutely one of the best in the club. Does he have any weaknesses? Well, his strength of 5 is a little bit worrying. His flair means he's not going to do anything unexpected, which we don't really like him to do, to be honest, as a central midfielder on support. What I do want him to do sometimes is... I would have wished that with this first touch technique, vision and stuff like that, that he could find a couple more balls going forward. But I'm not playing into space, right? I'm not playing like that. But he's like a connection between. Now we're going into the tactical part. Let's not do that before later on. But yeah, he's solid. He's a solid central midfielder. Absolutely. Is he a 5-star? I don't know. But I see him more like a 4-star, 3.5 even. I don't think he's that good, but he do have some pretty decent numbers. So the other guy in here is we actually got 2 other guys in here. Hurtado, who is left-footed, but he's gonna play on the right-hand side. He can also go up in the AMC role, but he's probably the main. Yeah, I would probably call him the main, not the main, the backup. He's gonna be the backup to the other guy, right? Now the problem with the guy is his physicals are not great. He can be pushed around. This guy, they will try and go in on him. He got really poor bravery and poor composure, poor strength. Not very big at all, not very fast either. But if he's allowed to play his game, he's very good. If he's just allowed to use his passing and first touch and technique and decision to move the ball around really quickly, you can see that sometimes he will have a really good game against some weak opponents. So weak opponents, put this guy in and he's gonna do bits to them. But yeah, of course, he's nowhere near the same level as the other guy. We have one more player in the central midfield area. Actually, we could also play pass down here, but that's 4th choice. We got Mercado. Mercado is the 3rd choice, and he's not very bad at all. He was here on loan last season as well, but yeah, he's I don't know if he's gonna be 3rd choice or 2nd choice. They're gonna have to battle it out, those 2 players, right? It's that's up to them, whoever is going to play best. I think right now, Mercado might be ahead of the other guy. I'm actually not entirely sure of that. they are very equal in terms of average ratings, and it's very hard to tell. It depends on the game. I would say if it's a game where we need to play someone where we need to be a little bit more balanced, I think Mercado is the way to go. If we need someone who can create something and get the ball moved around really quickly, probably more the other guy, right? Then it's probably gonna be Hurtado. Hurtado? Really? I never really said it out loud. Hurtado. Fair enough. So that's the midfield. We also got this guy Pass, but we'll take a look at him in just a second here. So that's the midfield. Next up is the attacking midfield, and we got. Let's check out this over here first. The AML. This is an interesting spot because of tactical choices. Now we have three pretty. I wouldn't say different, but at least we have different choices over here. Let's take a look at the first guy here, Daza. He's on loan, and he is. I got this guy in because the other two guys is very injury prone, so I thought I need someone else, and this guy is, he became the first choice, to be honest. He just became the first choice over there. I am playing him as a winger over there, and he's doing a fairly good job, mainly because of his physicals, I would say. He's not very good at crossing. He do have some decent dribbling on him and some good flair, so he can do the unexpected. Good technique as well. He's just a decent winger, also pretty tall. He's pretty good in the air with jumping reach of 12. His heading is, of course, piss poor, but that doesn't matter. He's gonna win most of his battles in the air against a wingback or a fullback. So he's definitely he's been quite good in the preseason. 7.16, 4 assists, 1 goal. I'll definitely take that. So I'm pretty happy about him at the moment. And the guy that he has to beat for the spot is Terrazas. And we know him from last season, and he's going to be playing in the same kind of role. Now, the main problem with Terrazas is his injuries. He's already had a couple in the preseason, I believe. And that's probably not going to change too much. He has a couple of moderated one. Pulled groin, tie, and last season this major one. I think he's an injury-prone player. So when he's ready to play, he's likely going to be the main guy in there. But yeah, I'm not sure. I might think that Daza got him here. I think Daza is just going to be more playing more and be more consistent in what he's doing. So he's gonna fight for his spot, Terrazas, a lot. I don't think he has him beaten. The third choice is Chavez, who is a more regular winger. He honestly hasn't been good, and he has been injured quite a bit. So I don't know how much he's gonna play, but well, he's basically just a backup to the other two guys, right? Let's take a look at the injuries here. He had a major one as well. Actually, he had two. He had a moderate and a major one, and another moderate in this preseason. I don't think he's gonna play a whole lot this season. We'll see. Ah, man, that was a lot. So in here, in the AMC role, which is an attacking midfielder, if you hadn't seen the last episode where we I don't know if you have. We haven't really talked about tactics yet, which we will do after all of these players are done. So in here, ignore Terrazas. Actually, I'm gonna remove him because he's been shite in here as a AMC. Absolutely shite. Every time I tried him, he was absolutely shite in here. He is gonna play out here or maybe up front from time to time, Terrazas, but likely mostly over here. So Rodriguez, Pass. And also the guy from the midfield, he can go up here and play here, and also Mercado could go up and play here. But the two main guys is these two. Now, Rodriguez is... yeah, they are kind of similar, these two guys. They're kind of similar. Both of them have had pretty good preseasons. Both of them tend to get a couple of assists and a couple of goals. This guy probably is going to get more goals than the other guy, but I don't really think, and very good here, comes deep to get the ball, which is really great for the position he's playing right now. He's just a very good player. I don't really have anything bad to say about him, to be honest. Maybe his balance is whatever, right? And determination is 4, whatever. What he can do is go deep, get the ball, move it around to the wider target man or into the striker, right? And also sometimes get those runs into the box and take a shot. That is what he's gonna do, and that's what he have done all so far in the preseason. Now he do have a couple of games. He seems to be a little bit inconsistent, right? But overall, still pretty decent. Now, who he has to beat for the spot, which I think Paz have him beaten right now. I think Paz is my first choice. Is this guy, Diego Paz, right? He's not very fast. That's his problem. That's his biggest problem. What he is good at is that he is just bang on average everywhere else. He's pretty fairly good technical, fairly good in all his mentals, good decision makings. Balance is 15, so yeah, he might be slow, but yeah, you're not gonna get him down. I mean, you can try, but he even got 10 composure, so yeah, he's gonna be hard to deal with when he's getting on the ball. Also having decent amount of first touch and passing and technique, so he's just gonna be a little bit annoying for the opponents. And as you can see, he's been quite fairly good. He don't get a lot of assist or goal scoring like the other guy, but he do get a couple. Let's actually compare them real quick here, because they are gonna be the two main guys up there. Rodriguez right here. So what can we tell from this? Well, pass is a little bit better when it comes to the average in technical. Free kick taking is of course fairly decent to have. Actually, we didn't have anyone that was good at free kick taking. So, and I think he has scored one from a free kick. So yeah, there we go. That's of course, you know, an advantage to him. The first touch, yeah, okay, well, fair enough, Rodriguez. You got him beaten there, but anywhere else, he's definitely the better player. Mental is a bit of a mixed bag. They are both 7 in average and 8 in average over here as well. But of course, with Rodriguez being a little bit more pacey, where yeah, pass is gonna lack the acceleration and pace to really beat his men. So that's the two AMC roles. Nothing really special, but they're not bad either. And there are just enough difference to them that you can pick your choices here compared to what game you're up against. The other two guys, we have already looked at them. They are just backups to that spot. Here we go. Last spot in the midfield. It is over here, and the main guy here is gonna be Penna. I thought he would be my main guy up front, but it actually turns out he is brilliant as a winger. I'm not even an inverted winger or anything. No. I'm playing him as a winger. I could play him as a wider target forward, but I'm actually playing him as a winger over here on attack. And he's actually been quite good in that role. Now, very often, because of who he is, he's gonna cut inside and take a shot, just because who he is. And I like it. He's been scoring 7 goals and 4 assists. And if we go into the report here and into form, you can see that I have mostly played him as a winger. Most of his games, actually, except from this one, all of the rest was as a winger. That's fairly good. He also got 2 assists, or 4 assists actually. That's also pretty good. So I'm very happy with him. He's probably so far been the best player in the preseason, or at least one of the best, top 3 at least. Very happy with his performance. Very happy with that we have such a decent way to play him as a winger, where he's cutting in just completely by himself because of who he is. His crossing is always going to be poor, but that doesn't really matter because he's often taking the ball out wide and then he's cutting in and then maybe finding someone back in the central midfield and playing it around. He's of course not very good on the ball, but he's not bad either because of his first choice and technique and work rate. Not work rate. Where is it? Oh, actually, he don't have good composure. I thought he had good composure. Never mind then. Still, brilliant in the preseason, right? Avoid using the weaker foot is also not the worst, but I think actually mostly he has scored with the left foot when he's cutting in. Well, that I don't know about that. Tries tricks. I don't think I've seen him do any tricks, but that doesn't matter. So who is he gonna beat for the spot? Well, there is a couple of guys. There's Vargas and Morales, and you know them from last season. They were here last season as well. Vargas is just a very pacey, typical winger. He's actually an inverted winger, but I'm playing him as a winger on attack like the other guy. He's a little bit better with his crossing, but not a whole lot. Decent technique, decent work rate, decent teamwork. He's okay. He's okay. He's like a bang on average. 2 assists, 1 goal in the preseason. I think he's the main backup. If we have 2 backups, he's the main backup. Morales, like I said, maybe 3rd choice, but he has actually shown quite significant amounts of good stuff in the preseason. I actually didn't notice that before now. I didn't know he has been this good. So might have the other guy beaten for the 2nd spot. And he might also get a couple of starts in the AMC role if we really need him to. So at least he got some versatility and also is 2-footed, which is also telling me that yeah, his numbers is not too bad actually. He might be ahead of Vargas here. That's interesting. That's actually interesting. He's that very tall guy, isn't he? Yeah, one. No, not really. So that's not the guy that I was thinking about. So that's the last midfielders, and I'm fairly happy with the right-hand side and also the left-hand side, to be honest. In here, you could have gotten someone better, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Up front, well, Terrazas is on the first spot here, but he's not the first player to get in there. Neither is Pena, neither is Paz. We actually need to go down to this guy, who is Hurana. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's the main guy up there. He's been scoring 10 goals in the preseason, 1 assist, 7.49. So he's having the he's top of the average rating in our team right now in terms of preseason, of course. He's pretty much a poacher who I'm playing as a pressing forward. Is he a very good pressing forward? Not really, but I don't really care too much about that. I'm just playing him as a pressing forward to make him hopefully enough pressure to allow enough mistakes in. But yeah, he's definitely not as good as a pressing forward as Pana would be up here. But what this guy will bring us is goals. he's gonna score. He's gonna score quite a few. So yeah, that's decent. That's decent. So that is our main guy up front, and he's gonna. Well, I think he's gonna fight for his spot against a couple of different players. I'm not sure if Terrazas is the guy that is gonna be the second option up there. I think it might be this guy, Corso, or even Pass that could go up here as the second option. That's the thing. Corso is probably third option if none of the other options is available. So Corso is kind of a mistake. I got this guy in very early in the preseason, actually before the preseason started. And I got him because he got some really good statistics. I didn't know a whole lot about him. And I think he's a mistake. He hasn't shown anything too good, but he hasn't shown anything too bad either. But right now I'm thinking third choice, but he could be our second choice. He's again more of a poacher than a pressing forward. He do have goals in him, but it is very inconsistent. I think 2 of these goals are in one match, so he doesn't score a whole lot in all matches. But unfairly I have been a little bit unfair to him here because I haven't played him a whole lot, right? So he came off as a sub very often in the friendlies. But still, he needs to score more to justify a spot here. So that is pretty much the entire team that we're gonna play with in the next season. So as you can see in here in the transfer market, a lot more ins than outs, but that's how it is. We also released quite a few players and stuff like that. A lot went out on free, but that we knew that would happen, of course. So yeah, there we go. Now, one last thing I want to talk about when it comes to the players is this guy, Anderson. He was a Brazilian 43-year-old player that I brought in pretty early in the preseason. I think maybe in February or January or something like that. Now, retrospectively, paying for an old player for half a year in a preseason and then he retired before the start of the season, that's pretty stupid. He's not here. That's why I got that new player in that was really, really good. This guy was actually rather good. He didn't do good in the preseason, and then he decided to retire before the season started. So yeah, a little fun fact here: don't sign old people in a long preseason. Let's take a look at the tactic. Now, I have set up, what I think is the best 11 here, and also who I would probably play on the bench for the first team if everyone was completely injury-free and ready to play. This was probably how I would, go for it. I just put it up there, right? But of course, you can see some of the guys are injured, but that doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the tactic. It is pretty similar to last season's high press. We still have it here. Version 1.8 from last season that we ended the season with. We do also have another one down here, a standard 4-3-3 version 1.2, which is, let's actually go by this one first, because this is something that I'm considering using against the absolute best teams. I'm considering it still, and it might happen. It's of course something that is counter based, and it is also something that is standard in lines, so we won't be caught out of positioning or over the top with through balls too often. But from so far, I haven't seen it work too well, at least not enough to, go ahead and say that it's better than this one, because this is the main strategy right now. It is the one I have set to primary tactic, and familiarity is almost there. It's almost there. So what is it? Well, it is, like I said, very similar to last season, but it has a couple of other things in it. Now, we do not play with higher tempo here, and we do play with the attacking width on wide, which is the same as last season. Where it is very different is right here, right? We're focusing down the right only. We do not underlap. We're not looking for the underlaps. We're more patient in what we're doing here. We don't look for those runs in there because we are already playing asymmetric, which will create spaces. And also, it will create, what is it called? What is it called when there are a lot of guys in the same area? Overloads. Whatever you want to call them. I would call them overloads, where there is a lot of players in the same area, especially right here. We would see, I will tell you about that afterwards actually. Let's go through these tactical choices first. Work the ball into the box, low crosses, play for set pieces. It's actually not that important to have it in, but I'm actually okay with it because often it will give us more time on the ball, right? They're playing, if there is an opportunity to get it out to a corner or something, then they will do it, right? And also it will make sure that they are not just throwing it away. They will play for the set pieces and let us have the ball more often, which is what we're looking for. Dribble less is also there. So that's the in possession style football. Now in transition, I have changed only one thing in here from last season, and that is I'm not distributing to fullbacks because our center backs are actually good enough to play it into now. So we will do that. Out of position, we are exactly the same as last season. Prevent shorter goalkeeping, much higher trigger press thingy, use of side trap, and much higher line of engagement and defensive lines as well. So there we go. Also, still on mentality positive, so it's not a big change, but where the change is, of course, in the formation, and we just saw that right here. So what this will do, if we go man by man here. Now, the inverted wing, well, actually the goalkeeper is exactly the same. There we go, done, dusted, nothing there. The inverted wing backs have changed a slightly bit from last season because they are now passing it shorter. They didn't have that in last season. Why? Because of how the tactic works now. They will not try those dings over the top too often anymore. They will find shorter passes more often into Salazar, into Diaz, into Daza, into Pena, whoever they're closest to, right? Because they also have they don't have. I took that out. Yeah, that's right. That's they do have nothing here, passing risk. So that means sometimes they will ding it over when there is room for it, over to Daza or over to Pena. They will ding it over there, or even to the pressing forward if there is room. But not too often. I haven't seen too often, but I just wanted them to do it sometimes, but not too often, right? That's why I took it out. Central defenders, exactly the same. Take fewer risk, close down less. Defensive midfielder, I believe he's exactly the same. I don't remember doing anything to him. Take fewer risk, dribble less, shoot less often, tackle harder, mark tighter. The central midfielder, I believe I took something out. I just don't remember what it was. Maybe get further forward. I think that was it. So almost the same. This winger over here has shoot less often, and that's about it. I do want him to cross the ball from time to time. I do want him to get very far forward. So that's why he is on attack. And yeah, so there we go. A winger on attack. Advanced midfielder, attacking midfielder. Take more risk, move into channels. I want this guy to take some risk because he's so far up the pitch anyway, and he will often find passes into the pressing forward or out to the winger that is running into space. So actually he's not running into space, that's not true, but he will get it into the winger. And also move into channels, so he will link up with the midfield quite well as well. So that's how he's gonna play in that spot. The winger over here is actually the same as last season. He's gonna hold position quite a bit, and there is a reason for that. Also shoot less often and take more risk. I want this guy to take risk because often these guys over here that is gonna play over here, I think they are gonna, with this take more risk on again, it's gonna create more chances if they're good enough to do it. And so far it's been working. That is one of those instructions that I'm a little bit, should I take that out and play a little bit more simple passing style football? Yeah, you know, but so far it works. Now, how this, actually the pressing forward is the last guy. He got roam from position, which is very, very important in this role, or this formation here. It's very, very important. Now, what this will do when we are looking at the game inside the match engine, often when we are in transition and getting the ball back, no matter if it's up, actually let's just go by the goalkeeper got the goal, got the ball, right? He's gonna pass it out to the central defenders. The central defenders are gonna pass it out to one of the inverted wingbacks, or maybe the defensive midfielder. The inverted wingbacks is gonna run a little bit into the midfield, and then they're gonna pass it into the central midfielders, likely, or they're gonna go out to the wingers, depending on what side we're on, right? Very often, we will see this guy go down here, receive a ball from the central midfielder or from the inverted wingback, and cut it into the winger here or something like that. It would actually be easier to show you just a pass map here of what I'm talking about, actually. You know what? Let's do that, because I think we're pretty much done with the tactical things here. And the pass map could work into how this tactic is working. I could probably show it a little bit better. So if we go into last match, this is actually not the best last match pass. Can we take like Real Potosi here? Yeah, that would probably be a better one. Yeah, that's way better. That's way better. So as you can see, our passes is actually really good. Even in a 1-1 situation here, we were the better team in this one. 551 passes, which is quite a bit. So as you can see, the central defenders here, that's pretty good. The defensive midfielder in there making the whole thing tick. He got a lot of passes up to the attacking midfielder, and the attacking midfielder getting it into the winger, and the central defender over here getting it into the inverted winger, and then him into the attacking midfielder. The attacking midfielder can go left or right, because he will often find, as you can see here, he will often find this pressing forward who is roaming from his positioning. So he will get the ball quite often from the attacking midfielder into some dangerous situations. And because we're playing really, as you can almost tell that we are really focusing on the right-hand side here. So a lot of passes is going to go through the right-hand side. That is going to create spaces, both for the striker, but also for the winger over here, to sometimes get the ball really quickly over here. Sometimes with a cross, sometimes they're just passing it around really quickly and get it over to the winger or the attacking midfielder who is going to get into the box. This winger over here is going to get a lot of crosses in, but that's what it is. And sometimes when we are playing Penna, he's going to cross it. He's going to cross into the box and take a shot. That's okay. But on the other side, we do have Vaca here with a lot of balls going forward to Rivas, and Rivas again moving it up to the winger. Right now, the central midfielder in here, he's like that glue. He doesn't receive a lot of balls, and he doesn't really pass it a whole lot around. But when there is an opportunity to get it into him in the midfield, he's actually playing more. He's playing more like a carrilero, and I've actually been wondering if I should try him as a carrilero, so he would move a little bit more around and try to find spots where he just can link up a little bit better with the rest of the midfield and stuff. I've wondered if I should do that instead of a central midfielder, but he's working like a carrilero, just sitting in there where he needs to be because there is a hole to fill, right? But he's not getting a lot on the ball. A lot of the balls go through our inverted wingbacks because they're already in the midfield, and also a lot through the attacking midfielder and through our wingers. So that's kind of how we are set up and how we are approaching the games in terms of going forward. Defensively speaking, it's pretty much the same as last year, just a little bit better because we have better central defenders and better inverted wingbacks, of course, as well. So overall, we have definitely improved both the tactic and also the players. So we should be better for this season coming up. We do also have to talk a couple of other things here. One thing is that I got 2 new staff members. I got 1 more coach because they keep complaining about fitness and tactical choices and stuff like that. So we do have the absolute best coaching system in the league now, and I think they will still complain about stuff even if the training is perfect. Just because, I don't know why, but I am trying to get them. It doesn't really mean too much because they will still develop. Just because they are unhappy about the training doesn't mean they are not gonna develop. Not at all. Not at all. So, and we also got a... What was it? Head of Youth Development. I'm kind of using I'm using him as a manager, basically. But he's a Head of Youth Development because he's a bit cheaper than getting a under 21 manager. So, yeah, Head of Youth Development. He's actually quite alright. Where is he? Right here? Or maybe he's not shown... Yeah, he is. He's okay. Could have been having better judging player ability, but you know what? It's all good. So that's a small thing that also happened, and something really important. The board is giving me a coaching course, so it's gonna be completed in what? Started completion? Nah, it's not completed yet. It's gonna be a couple of months before I'm gonna get my badge. But that means I will finally improve this, and we can maybe move on in the next season, depending on what is gonna happen. But at least they are giving me my coaching badge now, which is great. The National C badge, I think it is, or something like that. So that's a couple of different news. Now, one of the big ones that we haven't really talked about a whole lot is the finances. Oh boy. Oh, it's showing. It's not showing. There we go. So, as we can see, last season we were on 500 wages, and I actually said that we would probably be 5 times more, or have 5 times more wages next season. Well, yeah. Yeah, so there we are. We did get a new sponsorship, so we actually did get some money in, but I'm expecting this overall balance to be in the, as you can see here, 10,000 per month going down. It's gonna be in the red when we are done with this season, but it is what it is. It is what it is, right? So yeah, that's not great, but I think this it would happen no matter what. I think not really. You could play without any good players at all and take a mediocre season and maybe move on as well. I just wanted to go for a little bit of a better situation, having a few better players, right? And we do have some very decent players in here. We are definitely a better squad than last season, which I didn't expect us to be. So yeah, I think we are about ready to go into the next season now. I don't think I have a whole lot more to say here, and I hope you enjoyed this little. Well, it's not a little episode; it's probably on the longer side. But if you like this kind of thing, well, I'm definitely gonna do it every single time. So you can expect more of these episodes in between the seasons. Clearly, of course, there's likely gonna be 2 episodes every single preseason because the preseasons are so freaking long. So I might as well make 2 episodes every time we are having them. It's a big... You know what? Honestly, I think I'm probably playing more in the preseason than I am doing the season because they are so long. There are so many games. There is a lot to change all the time. I'm changing the tactic a lot, and also the transfers and all that. So I'm probably playing more in the preseason than I am doing the seasons. So you can think about that when you have. It's taking a very long time to produce those 2 episodes compared to the other episodes I'm doing throughout the season. Anyway, I think we're about done, and our first game in the division here, or in the league, is gonna be against Nacional Senac. I haven't really looked at them. We'll take a look at them in the next episode, but I don't think we are expecting anything but a win here. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I will see you, well, in the next season.